welcome back. How are you today? How are you feeling? So I've been divinely guided to talk about why I'm here, what all these videos are about. Now, I touched on it in the early days when I first started this new YouTube channel, and I know I've done a video in my previous channel, but it keeps changing. As we evolve, things change. Now, what's come up for me today is that I am so clear that I am here to serve you. To me, there is no doubt as to why I am here now. This is my purpose. This is what I believe. Each time I sit here to speak, most times I don't even know what I'm going to talk about. Sometimes I'm guided. I'll have comments from the beautiful YouTube community, and there's questions, or the comment itself sometimes will give information as to what needs to come forward. But many times I sit here and I feel into what it is that Spirit wants to talk about. And I've learnt to trust. So many times I've been here answering a comment or answering a question, and I'll receive an email a day or two later from other subscribers or other people that listened to that message and say to me, that was exactly what I needed to hear. And sometimes it's from people I'm not expecting, you know. So I've just learnt to trust. Spirit has asked me to be here. It's asked me to record these gorgeous videos. And whatever comes up, sometimes the most beautiful information comes up. And then I share that in the latest book, if that information is relevant to that chapter. Then it goes into that book, because I just find it so beautiful. It has to be shared in other ways, because not everybody is going to find these videos. Some people may find the books. Some people may find the Facebook group, you know, which at the moment is kind of just sitting there until one thing moves a little bit more, you know. We were told in the beginning, you know, when I joined the Hay House course last year. Hay House is a publishing house for authors. For those of you who are not familiar with Hay House, originally the publishing house I went with is a subdivision of Hay House, and I went with this beautiful company called Belle Press because it was my dream at the time when I published the first book, Your Past is a Gift, that I would be represented one day by Hay House. So last year I signed up and did a beautiful course with them, only to find out that they don't do anything except put their name on your books. Instead of having Belle Press, I would have Hay House, and it's a traditional house. It's more well known than Belle Press, but the marketing, the getting out there and letting people that know that these books exist, they don't do any of that. I thought once they took you on as one of their authors, that they would promote the books, that they would get your books out there, you know, for more people to know that these books exist. And then I found out that none of that is true. You know, I had this belief for so long that when Hay House took over, they would get the books out there. And finally, all this beautiful information would be at the hands of people, the people that need it, because not everybody needs it. Not everybody is on this path. Or maybe some of the books serve some paths, but not all the books, because not everyone is here to awaken, as we've said before. So that's everything I learned with Hay House. Not only that, but when they take a book, when your manuscript is ready for publishing, it takes them up to 2 years to get that book out into the world. Whereas with Belle Press, my books can be done within 6 months and they're already on the shelf. Amazon and Barnes and Noble and whatever other bookstores are out online. You can buy the books anywhere there. So for me, when I first listened to the voice to start writing after the first book was really a process. I had done this course on self-esteem, and for some reason I got this bee in my bonnet that I needed to get all these notebooks. So I had a stack of them and one day I just started writing. I had to write down every memory of my childhood that I could recall, and I had to extract all the information that I could from that memory. This was that process. Understanding my past, understanding why I went through all the things that I went through. So I was led down that path after that self-esteem course that I did to do all of that. It took me about a year to write it all down. And then I created these gorgeous manuscripts out of A4 paper, these raw manuscripts that I handed out that Christmas. But after that, a voice came to me to tell me to publish that book, that more than the 3 people I handed it out to would need this book. And so I said, okay, and went online. And as I said, I found Balboa Press, that was a subdivision of Hay House. And because I love Louise Hay so much for what she has contributed to the world, I thought I have to go with that company. And then the voice came back a couple of years later and said, you need to write again. And at the time, just like when most of the times I sit here to create these videos, I have no idea what I'm going to talk about. I had no idea what I was going to write about. No clue. I just sat down at my computer and trusted that something was going to come. And it did. And then the 3rd book, and then the 4th, and they just keep coming. Once you trust the process, and there's no resistance, it just happens. That's the beauty of it. But what's become so clear to me since this new year has started is that I am here to serve others. When I had my first awakening, I felt so alone. I had no one to talk to about all the things that were going on. So many things I just couldn't share with the people around me. And I had no one to share with for a few years. Not many, but for about 5 years. I was very limited to what I could share with my mother-in-law, or I felt limited. That if I shared certain things that she wouldn't understand, or that she would have judgment and not see what it is that I'm trying to share. Or I wasn't sure, at the time. She's the one that my mother-in-law was the one I did the beautiful self-esteem course with. And since then I've been testing the waters of what I can share with her and what I can say to her. And, in the end, it's become this gorgeous friendship that I can share anything. But it took a lot of testing, and patience from her side that, yes, I can share anything. But for the first 5 years of my awakening, that I started to see things differently and things were starting to happen for me, I felt so alone. And so I feel like I'm guided here to share all of this for those out there that are having an awakening and have no idea what's happening to them. Like, why does everything feel different? Why does everything look different? Why do I feel different all of a sudden? What is happening to me? Why do I feel like I don't fit in where I used to fit in? Why do the things that didn't bother me before, all of a sudden, they just bother me? I just don't want to do that anymore. I don't want to be in that space anymore. Like, say before, you were fine being in a crowd with lots of noise, and all of a sudden you find yourself craving silence, craving being in nature, and not putting up with the loud noise of the world. You suddenly crave this pace of slowing down. You don't want to be rushed anymore. You don't want to rush to go anywhere anymore. Things start to shift inside of you. Things that you were quite happy doing before you feel you can't tolerate doing that anymore. These sorts of things. And then there's no one to talk to about them. What is happening to me? You know? The other thing that was coming up the last few days as I was thinking about, I think from quite little I knew when I would look at people and I would wait for them to look at me so that I could smile at them, that I knew that I was here to be of service. I didn't know how as I was growing up. And then I got caught up in my human experience. I didn't know how as a child I would do that. But there was always a knowing in my being that this is what I was here for. And then I was born into a house full of fear that this is not a safe world, that people out there are only going to hurt you. They're only going to let you down. So you need to protect yourself at all times of others. This is what I grew up with, which in my system felt like the complete opposite of how I felt as a child. That this is a safe world, that I am here to serve others. And it's not about them hurting you or letting you down. It's about us shining our light when we've been given that task in the world. It's about stepping into that when we are ready. Some of us start quite young. Others, like me, you have a whole human experience in between. And that human experience is what allows us to connect to others that are still caught up in the human experience. What was coming up in the last few days is I hadn't realized that the moment I had my first awakening was the very last year that I did New Year's resolutions. The moment I awakened, I felt I no longer needed to do that. Before that, every year I would get to the 31st of, December and have this huge list. This year, these are my resolutions. And after my first awakening, I realized I don't need that. Every day I am grateful to still be here and to still be of service, to be able to create a video that may help someone on that day, to give them the information they need in that moment. That exact information. And that is what I spent my whole adult life doing. Reading. I have read so many self-help books, self-improvement books in my adult years. So many. Knowing that there's got to be a better way. That this isn't the only way to live. What we've been taught, what we've been shown. This can't be it. I always knew that in my heart. This can't be it. Surely there's more. There's so much more than what we are taught. So much more. After my first awakening, I'd realized that everything I ever wished for, that I thought would bring me happiness, all the things that I chased, that I believed would bring me peace, all of them fell short, all of them. I didn't realize at the time that the last belief, the one where my daughter was born, and I thought she was going to be the one. With her, I was going to feel loved. I was going to feel complete. And my love finally mattered with my daughter. And she gave me the greatest gift of all. She came into this lifetime to wake me up. That's her gift to me. And it is her gift to me every day that I see her, and I'm reminded that she came here to wake me up. That's it. That's all. Nothing more. Sometimes that's all that is needed. Not all this doing. We get caught up in we have to do. I was talking to my beautiful friend in New Zealand, and I was saying to her, I feel like I'm trying to catch up for the 30 odd years I've been asleep, walking this earth, asleep. And now that I have all this information, now that I'm awake, every day I feel like I need to be doing something to spread this information into the world for those who need this information at this time. And even my beautiful daughter was saying to me yesterday, Mummy, maybe you're trying to do too much. You keep asking the angels to help, but you don't make space for them to come in and help. You're too busy doing. So, why do we need New Year's resolutions? Does anyone ever stop to think, what are they for? And does anyone stop to think why they never work? I haven't had 1 year. In all the years that I did New Year's resolutions, I've never had 1 year where my New Year's resolutions have panned out. I've actually done all of them. Or completed all of them, or achieved all of them, however it is you want to call it. Or even one. Achieved one thing on that list. And you know what I realized about that now that I'm awake? When I was making that New Year's resolution each year, everything on that list were things that I wasn't happy with, things that I wanted to change, things that I didn't accept about myself in that moment. They were things I wasn't loving about myself, and I wanted them to change. If they changed, my life would be better. If they changed, I would be a better person. Yes, sometimes we want to quit smoking. We want to quit drinking. We want to lose weight. Because these are things that have gotten a bit out of hand over the years. And maybe at the end of each year we think, you know what, I've had enough. I want to feel better. I want to be able to breathe better now that I'm not smoking. I was a smoker for 4 years. And it took a while to kick that habit, you know. I kept quitting and then coming back for a couple of months, and then quitting and coming back for a couple of months. But it wasn't a habit that I enjoyed. I was constantly going to the doctor with bronchitis. So for me, it was an easy habit to kick, you know. Yes, sometimes we want to stop doing things to improve our lifestyle. I understand that. But those things shift, like I explained before, when we are done with the experience, when we have learnt the lesson of that experience, of why we are doing those things. Why was that habit there in the first place? How was it serving you? These are the questions. Everything in our life is serving us. Everything is energy. So today, if you have made New Year's resolutions for this year, I want you to sit down with your list and ask yourself, why do you want to change that? Why do you need to change that? And then look at how that has been serving your human experience up until now. Why is it there? All right, my beautiful beings. So I'm going to leave you with that beautiful thought for today. Let me know in the comments what comes up for you as you listen. All right, my beautiful beings. I love you. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And I'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye for now.